Hello and welcome students that are taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications. We are going to be working on the Chapter 5 drill problems, the odd number problems, all three sets. And what I mean by that is that it's the way the problems at the end of the chapter are broken down. You have drill problems, the first of three sets, then word problems, first of three sets. Then it jumps to the drill problems second of three sets, and word problems for a second of three sets, and then drill problems for three of three sets, and word problems three of three sets before you hit the challenge problem and of course the summary practice test. So instead of doing three or four quick questions from a drill problem, then going to word problem, then back to drill problems, going back to word problems, I'm just going to cover all of the drill problems as if it was just one big section. So as you can see in your textbook, you have problems 5-1 through 5-10. And then when you flip the page, you end up with drill problems beginning with question or problem 5-17. So that's the way I'm going to go about it. I'll just go from 5-9 as the odd one, and then I'll jump right over to 5-17. And of course finish up the third set. Okay, so the same format for this drill problems will be the same format for the word problems. Okay, so let's move into them. All right. Okay, drill problem 5-1. Solve the unknown from the following equations. Okay, so let me get my pen here. And the thought that just occurred to me while I was looking at this is realize that you're going to be using all of, if you looked at the theory videos, there were a lot of rules, and back there I had said, it's not important to memorize the rules. It's important to understand the rules, the theory behind them, and what you're supposed to do with them. And then when you come to the problems, you're going to be picking and choosing which rule you need at a particular moment in time in order to be able to solve for the unknown being a variable, and in this case here we're looking at the variable c. Okay, so realize that now we're into the meat of the matter, in that we're solving for an unknown, but we're going to be picking and choosing whatever rules we need in order to accomplish that. So there's no one set order to be able to do this. This is something that you can only learn by doing, and doing enough of. You will see patterns and things like this, and you'll know, from doing it many of these, you'll see the patterns and you'll kind of get used to what to do next, to the point where, like in my case, I don't even think about the rules. I just know how to do the problems, and unfortunately that's just, it's actually going to be difficult for me to be able to show this work, because I have to kind of like back up a little bit, but still it's kind of what I get. It's my thinking on solving these problems. All right, so let's move to it. All right, and I like to rewrite my work, so I have c minus 40 is equal to 315. All right, now the thing here is I want to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. Remember, the equal sign denotes the equation. So I want to keep c on the left here, and I want to put everything else on the right, which in this case here are whole numbers. Now, if I'm doing this, okay, the way I would go about this is I would go c is equal to 315 plus 40, all right, which then c is equal to 355, and that's my answer. Right? Now, notice what I did. I said I went and I took the minus 40, and from my way of thinking, the shortcut is that I want to get it on the other side of the equal sign. So when I put it on the other side of the equal sign, what I do is I change the sign in front of the number from a negative to a positive when I move it over to the other side. Okay, so my shortcut in doing this is c minus 40 is equal to 315, and this is following the rules, and you'll see what I mean when I actually work it out. But all I'm doing is taking the minus 40 and I'm putting it on the other side of the equal sign, Okay, but when I go to do that, I change the minus sign to a plus sign. And so I have C is left now on the left-hand side, and I have 355 on the right-hand side. Now, let me erase all of this and show you the actual math behind it there. Following the rules, and I'm not going to keep on doing this, but I'll do it when I think it's appropriate, all right, as part of learning. Okay, one of the rules that we had said was that what you do on the left-hand side, you do on the right-hand side. Well, if I want to get rid, if all I want to do is isolate the C, the variable on the left-hand side, I want to get rid of everything else. Okay, well, the way you get rid of everything else is if I have a minus 40, okay, and I add 40 to it, that ends up making it 0, right? So it kind of like cancels that out. So in order to make that 0, because remember, C plus 0 is equal to 0, I'm sorry, is equal to C, is equal to C, all right? In order to keep C on the left-hand side, I'm going to add 40 to one side, but whatever I do on the left-hand side, I have to do on the other side, all right? So I have to add 40 to the right-hand side. So when I do that, now I'm going to do the math going down the page. Basically, I have C, this is now 0, these cancel each other out, and I have 315 plus 40, and that gives me C is equal to 355. Okay, so that's the math behind my doing it my quick way, which, let me just redo this real fast. Oh boy, okay. All right, which was C minus 40 is equal to 315. And again, all I did was just take this and moved it over here. Changed the sign, right? Which means I can now get rid of that. And I have now C is equal to 355. Okay? All right, next problem. 5-3. Same exact thinking, okay? Q plus 100 is equal to 400, okay? I'm going to move it over here, move it across the equal sign. When I do that, I leave my Q on the left-hand side, and I have 400 plus, I'm sorry, minus 100. So Q is equal to 300. Okay. Next one. All right, solve for the unknown. Same thing, except we're going to now have 5y is equal to 75. Y is our variable, okay, and we want to isolate the variable. Now realize that 5y is the same as writing 5 times y, okay? That time sign, the multiplication that we do right here, is understood when we put the constant right next to the variable. So we understand that that means times, okay? With that said, if we have multiplication going on the left-hand side here, okay, then in order to isolate the variable y, what we need to do is divide. And remember, what we do on one side, we do on the other. So I'm going to divide by that constant of 5. Okay, why am I going to do that? Because any number over itself is equal to 1. Okay, so if I do that, that cancels out and gives me a 1. That gives me a 1. So now I have 1y, right? I have 1y, and of course 1 times y is, 1 times y is equal to y. It's the same number. I just don't need to write the 1, right? And what I do on the left-hand side, I have to do on the right-hand side, okay? Oops, shouldn't have put an equal sign there. I'm going to divide 5 on the right-hand side, okay? So I end up with y is equal to 75 divide it by 5, or y is equal to 15, right? Yep, 15. Okay, so let me go over that again. I hope you understood that concept. If not, feel free to call and speak with an instructor. So I have 5y is equal to 75. Okay, what I do on the left, I want to do on the right. And since I'm multiplying here, I want to divide by whatever that constant is, right? I want to do on the left and I do on the right. So 5 can go into 5 once, that reduces to the lowest terms of 1 over 1, so I'm left with y is equal to 75 over 5, and that ends up being y is equal to 15. Okay. Right, I'm going to stop here and pick up in the next video with 5-7.